यी थिए सगरमाथा टेलिभिजनका पोखरा प्रतिनिधि घनश्याम लामिछानेबाट प्राप्त साङ्गीतिक प्रतियोगिता भोइस अफ पोखराका केही अंशहरू। यो कार्यक्रम हामी आगामी हप्ताहरूमा समेत दिँदै जानेछौँ। उक्त भोइस अफ पोखरा साङ्गीतिक प्रतियोगितामा सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन तथा नेपाल दर्शन टेलिभिजन समेत सहभागी हुन पाएकोमा हामी गौरवान्वित छौँ। त दर्शकबिन, अब एकैछिन पालो छ केही सामुदायिक सूचनाहरूको।
अमेरिका नेपाल वुमेन्स एसोसिएसन अफ ग्रेटर वाशिंगटन डीसीद्वारा सञ्चालित निशुल्क स्वास्थ्य शिविरमा डाक्टर महेश्वर वैद्य, डाक्टर शर्मिला अर्याल, आर्यन मन्जु सङ्ग्रौला तथा आर्यन सुनिता श्रेष्ठ सहितको टोलीले निशुल्क स्वास्थ्य सेवा उपलब्ध गराइरहेको हुँदा उक्त सेवाको उपयोग गर्न यस स्क्रिनमा भएका नम्बरहरूमा सम्पर्क गर्नुहोला।
इतिहासको पानाहरू कहीँ अधुरो रहे तापनि तमुवान यानि कि गुरुङ जातिहरू परापूर्व आदिकालदेखि नै नेपालको उत्तरी भेग तिब्बतबाट क्रमशः दक्षिणतर्फ विशेष गरेर हाल नेपालको गण्डकी अञ्चल र पूर्वमा रुम्जाटा लगायत केही पहाडी भूभागहरूमा स्थायी रूपमा बसोबास गर्दै आएको तथ्यलाई केलाउन सकिन्छ।
ग्रेटर वाशिंगटन तमु समाजको आयोजनामा यही जनवरी 15 तारिक साँझ जोइस कम्युनिटी सेन्टर फेयरफ्याक्स भर्जिनियामा हुन गइरहेको लोछार महोत्सवमा उपस्थित भइदिनु हुन ग्रेटर वाशिंगटन तमु समाज हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछ। विस्तृत जानकारीका लागि सगरमाथा TV.US तथा nepalhorizons.com हेर्नुहोला।
नमस्ते, म सरिषा अलिकति तपाईँहरूले हुनुहुन्छ सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन।
Now it's time for our legal discussion with Mr. Ali Azar and Alfredo Asin, attorneys at law from the law office of Lewis and Associates in Falls Church, Virginia. Let's hear what they have to say today.
Namaste viewers, this is Ali Azar.
Namaste viewers, this is Alfredo Asin, and we're here from the law offices of Lewis and Associates.
And you're watching us on this wonderful program, Sagarmatha Television. Alfredo, today I wanted to ask about a question which has, I know, have been asked of us several times, and unfortunately some of the viewers of this program find themselves in such a predicament. We come from a certain part of the world outside of the United States, in this case from Nepal. We go and we congregate with Nepalis and we work in businesses that are where Nepalis are generally employed, and we live in a communal type of a setting just because it's more efficient, it's cheaper, and obviously once you're here for the first time, you want to save every penny that you potentially can. So with that scenario in mind, you're living in this communal type of setting, and 6 o'clock in the morning somebody knocks at the door and you find ICE agents in their uniforms and their weapons standing and asking you questions. You may or may not be in status. What does one person do if you're an immigrant or an intending immigrant, or let's even say somebody who's unlawfully present and you're confronted with such a situation?
It's an excellent question, Ali. Basically, the first thing to note is a lot of times ICE tends to show up first thing in the morning when you're just woken up or still asleep. Again, the idea is to try and make this as confusing and intimidating as possible.
And they're there to apprehend you. So
well, to apprehend you or someone there with you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
The first thing they're going to ask you is probably if this individual is in the house. If he is, don't lie. The worst thing you can do is lie to them. Why? Because generally, they've been at your house before, scoping it out, looking to see if this person's there or anything. So they're going to know if you're lying. Right. Second thing is, if you are lying and they believe it, and later on they find out it was a lie,
right,
now you're lying to government agents, and you yourself committed a crime. So
and it can be used against you.
It will be used against you.
It will be used against you.
Yes.
So,
not only if you're a U.S. citizen, it's a criminal punishment. If you're here as an immigrant and still not a U.S. citizen, then it can be used to expedite your removal from this country as well, not just the person you're trying to protect.
So let's say now you're in custody, you're cuffed, you're taken away. What happens next?
The next thing that's going to happen is ICE is going to bring you to their processing facility, and first of all, make sure that your A number and all of your information is that they have the right person. The next thing they're going to try and do is put some paperwork in front of you. They've been known to try and slip this in there. Don't sign anything that you don't understand. The most important, the best thing you can do is request that your attorney's present. You probably have an immigration attorney or a relative that's going to call your attorney. That's one of the most important things. Why? You don't know what you're signing. I've had clients come to me in the past saying, oh yes, ICE let me out because they told me if I sign this, I can come out. Well, when you look at the paper, they just signed their voluntary departure from this country.
And that's very important, viewers, because you're already under stress. This is not what you do for a living. You probably have never been detained. You're now being detained in a foreign country. The level of stress is immense. A lot of times I've had individuals just sign off, even knowing at times, just because they want to be out of their predicament, and they realize later on, even though that they've signed the documents, they're still in detention and they still are looking at several weeks, if not months, of time behind bars. So that's very important. And again, you would be given your day in court, and Alfredo will explain that a little bit more, that once you're detained, what happens next?
Once you're detained, the next thing that's going to happen is the detention officer is going to determine whether or not to give you bond. If he sets a bond, you pay it at the ICE office and they'll release you. Let's assume that he doesn't set a bond,
right.
Or he or she doesn't set a bond. They'll give you the option to request a hearing before a judge, and you'll get a bond hearing before an immigration judge now in a couple of days. It's not going to be weeks, months, it'll be a couple of days.
The important thing again is always seek competent counsel, because your life is on the line and you want to make sure you take the proper guidance. I know the time is running out in this particular segment. This is an important issue that has been raised. We'll probably continue on this in our following segments. But again, please make sure you seek competent counsel so that your interests are protected. This is Ali Azhar.
And this is Alfredo Asin.
Goodbye and thank you.
Thank you.
Sagarmatha Television.
Now it's time for our health segment with Dr. Dan Biswakarma from Lorton, Virginia. Today's topic is kidney stones.
नमस्कार, म डाक्टर दान विश्वकर्मा। आज म यहाँहरूलाई यो किडनी स्टोन, जसलाई हामी मेडिकल टर्ममा चाहिँ नेफ्रोलिथियासिस भनेर भनिन्छ, त्यसको बारेमा छोटो जानकारी लिएर आएको छु। मैले गत हप्ता बताएको थिएँ कि यो किडनी स्टोनको कारणले गर्दाखेरिमा हामीलाई चाहिँ पिसाबमा चाहिँ ब्लड जाने हुन्छ र इन्फेक्सन पनि भइराखेको हुन्छ। त्यसैले यो अति नै महत्त्वपूर्ण हुन्छ र प्रायःजसो धेरै मान्छेहरूलाई चाहिँ किडनी स्टोन चाहिँ बनिराखेको हुन्छ। यहाँहरूलाई मैले बताइसकेको थिएँ किडनी स्टोन को कारणले गर्दाखेरिमा हामीलाई चाहिँ पिसाबमा इन्फेक्सन हुन सक्छ, पिसाबमा रगत जान सक्दछ। त्यस्तै गरेर किडनी फेलियर भएर चाहिँ यो हामीले चाहिँ यो हाइड्रोनेफ्रोसिस भएर चाहिँ किडनी फेलियर भएको हुन सक्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ हामीलाई डायलाइसिस पनि गराउनु पर्ने हुन सक्छ। त्यसैले योको लक्षण थाहा पाइराख्नु अति नै उपयोगी हुन्छ, जरुरी हुन्छ। यो कसलाई लाग्न सक्दछ त भने यो धेरै जसो यो चाहिँ यो पिसाब एकदमै कन्सन्ट्रेटेड हुने मान्छेहरूलाई, जसले चाहिँ पानी पिउँदैन, त्यसको चाहिँ पिसाब एकदमै कन्सन्ट्रेटेड हुन्छ, एकदमै डार्क हुन्छ, त्यस्तो मान्छेहरूलाई चाहिँ धेरै लागेको हुन्छ। त्यस्तै गरेर गर्मी ठाउँमा बस्ने मान्छेहरूलाई धेरै लागेको हुन्छ। यदि बारम्बार चाहिँ पिसाबमा इन्फेक्सन भइराखेको छ भने त्यसलाई पनि लागेको हुनसक्छ। त्यस्तै डायबिटिज भएको मान्छे, हाई ब्लड प्रेसर भएको मान्छे, जसले डायुरेटिक भन्ने औषधि खाएको हुन्छ, त्यस्तो मान्छेहरूलाई पनि यो स्टोन चाहिँ बन्ने गर्दछ। त्यस्तै गरेर चाहिँ यदि तपाईले चाहिँ अन्य औषधि खानुभएको छ, मैले बताएँ त्यो हाइड्रोक्लोरोथाइजाइड भन्ने औषधि हुन्छ, अथवा HIV एड्सको औषधि खाइराख्नु भएको छ भने त्यसले पनि गराउन सक्छ भने। त्यस्तै गरेर चाहिँ यो हेरिडिटरी हुन्छ, फ्यामिलीमा चाहिँ कसैलाई भएको छ भने चाहिँ बाबुआमालाई भएको छ भने बच्चाहरूलाई पनि हुन सक्ने सम्भावना चाहिँ हुन्छ। त्यसैले यसमा चाहिँ यो पानी पिउनु, डायबिटिज कन्ट्रोल गर्नु र अन्य रोगहरू चाहिँ जो छ त्यो चाहिँ कन्ट्रोल गराउनु चाहिँ अति नै आवश्यक हुन्छ। मैले यहाँलाई बताउन बिर्सेँ कि यो युरिक एसिड जसलाई हुन्छ त्यसलाई पनि यो चाहिँ स्टोन बन्न सक्ने सम्भावना धेरै हुन्छ। त्यसैले म यहाँहरूलाई के सल्लाह दिन्छु भने यो बारम्बार पानी पिइराख्ने यो पानी कति पिउने त भन्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ फेरि मान्छेलाई चाहिँ अब 3-4 लिटर 5-6 लिटर पनि एकैचोटि पिउने गर्दछन्, त्यो पनि राम्रो होइन। हामी यो भन्ने गरिन्छ 8 औँस 24 आवर्समा चाहिँ 8 औँस पानी पियो भने चाहिँ इनफ हुन्छ। तर यदि तपाईँलाई चाहिँ एकदमै आउटडोर एक्टिभिटिजहरू चाहिँ धेरै गर्नुपर्ने छ, पसिना धेरै आउँछ, स्पोर्ट्समा लाग्नुहुन्छ भने त्यही अनुसार चाहिँ तपाईँले त्यो पानी चाहिँ बढाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। यदि तपाईँलाई चाहिँ यो किडनी सम्बन्धी यो यदि लक्षण छ भने चाहिँ जस्तै भनौँ न पेन छ, पिसाबमा चाहिँ यो कोखामा दुख्ने हुन्छ, त्यस्तै पिसाबमा रगत गइरहेको हुन्छ, बारम्बार युरिनरी ट्र्याक्ट इन्फेक्सन भइरहेको हुन्छ भने चाहिँ तपाईँले तुरुन्तै चाहिँ डाक्टरकोमा गएर यो जाँच पडताल गराउनु पर्ने हुन्छ र त्यही अनुसार चाहिँ ट्रिटमेन्ट चाहिँ सुरु गराउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। हस्त यो किडनी स्टोन सम्बन्धी छोटो जानकारी आजलाई यति। अर्को हप्ता यस्तै जानकारी लिएर उपस्थित हुनेछु। त्यति बेलासम्म बिदा दिनुहोस्। नमस्कार।
Well, viewers, that's all for today. We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Sagarmatha Television. Don't forget to watch Nepal Darshan Television every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. right here on MAZ Networks. Now, we'd like to conclude today's episode with this wonderful Nepali song. See you next week. Until then, I am Shreyaska, the host, saying goodbye and namaste.
Za 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 za